This is a first. I don't think I've ever had this happen. I can hear you both fine. It's just that it's almost like you're on, like a split-second delay.
Oh, no.
Is that better?
A little bit better, yeah. It's a little...
Okay.
It's so wild.
Because I shut off everything now. Still figuring it all out,
Okay. Well, sorry for the... we spent most of this time... Interview, I guess, is over because No, I'm just kidding. We spent all this time. Hey, but it's nice. I'm glad you're with me. I really appreciate you taking some time to do this, and it's a nice album that you have. So I'm happy to feature it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. How you doing, everybody? My name is Dean Olson. I am a songwriter, radio host, and producer from Orange County, California. And I'm really just an average guy who makes music. But when I get behind this microphone, I become the StrongWriter on the radio, helping songwriters and artists keep musically fit. And the way I love to do that is through faith and hope and encouragement. And by taking in the experiences and stories told to me by my wonderful guests, and by learning from the best in the business and passing it along to you. And now, it's another day, another great one for a great show, and I want to welcome you to it. And I'm always pleased to feature two artists in one on my show. Two people I've been listening to this music, husband and wife. They sound like they're in love, according to the lyrics that I'm reading on this, and I'm really excited to be talking with this group called Three Pairs of Boots, Laura ARIAS and Andrew Stern. They have a new album called StrongWriter, which is going to be released in January of 2021. A couple singles that they're excited about. They're making videos and promoting, and I'm really honored to have them on my show today. So please, will you welcome Three Pairs of Boots, Laura and Andrew? Welcome to my show, and how are you today?
We're doing great.
Doing well.
Thank you.
All right. Now, people are going to be listening to this. We were making kind of a big deal before we went on the air here that their audio, you're going to listen. It's going to be a little bit of an echo. It may sound like they're in a tank. They're sort of slapping back and forth the audio. But once we get to talking, you're going to forget all about that because their music is fantastic and they seem like a wonderful couple. And let's get back to, instead of talking behind your back, how are you? I want to talk to you guys. Very nice to meet you, finally. I've been trying to set this up for a few months now, but we all get busy these days, even with things slowing down. So how things been for you this year?
Kind of a roller coaster ride, like for most people, I guess, but we're hanging tough.
Started the year, I have a mustache.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Looked like you just had a mustache in the pictures that I saw. The photo shoots that you were doing and everything. And yeah. So how long? Why don't we start with some of the obvious questions, things that you probably have heard many times already. Three Pairs of Boots. Where does that come from? Why would you call yourselves that name?
The project originally started with another person involved with doing some initial songwriting, a good friend of ours, Happy Sanchez. And we wrote some songs and it felt good, and then he moved on to other projects and we just continued on and sort of kept on hopefully getting better at this particular genre of writing these kinds of songs, and it just kind of went from there. But initially, I thought, well, I need to find a name. We need to find a name that represents the three of us. So it's not the easiest thing to find a band name. So that was just sort of came to me one day. I don't know where it came from, but it just
stuck.
it magically appeared. So there were three of us, and now there's only two pairs of boots. The third one could be any number of other people that help us out. We have a couple of good friends who are mix engineers who mix the records for us. Mm-hmm. And, you all need people to help you. We can't do all this lighting, recording studio by ourselves. We have
help.
a lot of help.
Three Pairs of Boots was a line that you obviously, I heard it in one of the songs that you have on this album. So I think it was it Take a Step or Devil Road, one of those, you had it in there. So I figured, oh, maybe that's maybe there's a hint why you put it in there. But it sounds like the name came before you put it in the song, though, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The song is called Take a Step, and is really kind of more about my moving away from another business I was involved with for many years, and moving on to 3 pairs of boots to do full time. Well, it was always we were always full-time musicians, but I actually had a second job that paid the bills. So fortunately, that one is gone at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Well, how long you been making music? Let me start with you, Andrew. Did you were you making music way before you met Laura?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Teenager, 13 years old, 12 years old, started playing guitar, taught myself how to play, learned from playing records and playing in bands. And then when I went to college, studied music, which became pretty easy at that point because I already had developed a good ear and developed a certain amount of dexterity on the instrument. So it's kind of how it started, and haven't stopped playing since. Just grabbed a hold of me and hasn't let go. So
I figured I'd let you guys tell the stories because I read it on this piece of paper here that your people gave me, that you met in kind of a not an unusual way, but it was kind of a not everybody meets this way. How did you pair up, you and Laura? How did you get together for the first time?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, I guess. Playing in a band, and I wanted to do more studio work because when I first started singing, I was doing more studio work, and I just wanted to get back into that. And a friend of mine, a drummer friend of mine, gave me an ad and said, "You know what? They're doing studio work. You should give them a call." And I did. And Andrew came over. We listened to each other's material. Sent it away. I went over for an audition, which I got, and then we started working together, and we just became fast friends, and then it turned into more than that. So
good.
Yeah, I can say I met my spouse through a one ad, and people always get obviously the wrong impression.
Yeah.
Man, woman.
Not that kind of ad.
It was man seeking singer. Mm-hmm. What's really ad.
Yeah, you were looking for a singer. Yeah, but you got more than that afterwards. So that's nice. That's a nice love story that maybe you weren't expecting. Were you expecting that, Andrew, to fall in love with this one?
Absolutely not. I was, looking for something magical, but more in the music vein. Never expecting that it would blossom way more than that.
Well, the nice thing is that she didn't leave you as a singer, so you still get her. So that's good. And she's and you and Laura, you do have a lovely voice. So you're perfect. You're a perfect front woman, the voice of that band.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, you consider yourselves a band or a duo? A duo that has players backing you up.
That's a good question.
I think for now, right now we're a duo. The albums are full band. Love to do that when we play live. I haven't had the opportunity yet so far. We're playing just doing it with the two of us. So it's certainly a goal, but the reality is that it's hard to have a band and sustain it. It costs money, it takes time, it takes dedication from the other members.
Yeah.
So I figured, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. So.
And it's a lot harder to have a band during COVID, I think, too, is another aspect.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But Laura, what were you doing prior to answering the ad and becoming part of Andrew's life? What were you doing musically as a
I was juggling a day job with just trying to play as much live music as I could. I was in various local bands, and experience under my belt, and I just, I was just driven to do it for the love of it, like I'm sure you are. Musicians just gotta do it, and yeah.
Did you have a job that was totally unrelated to music that you were doing, and then?
One of my first jobs, though, was related in that I was a receptionist for a company that did a lot of industrial music for companies, and the guy that ran the sound department, who created all the sound material, I got a job from him by a friend of mine. And I started singing vocals for, like, I remember doing a cover. Do you remember Eye of the Tiger? Back in the 80s. Eye of the Tiger, but I was singing lyrics that glorified, this company that was holding this event. And so it was hilarious, and it gave me fantastic practice. So.
Awesome. Okay.
She's quite good in the studio by this time.
I turned off a fan in the room, so that might help a little bit.
Awesome.
Okay, I have you full blast, and I can barely hear you, so I'm trying my best.
The problem with Zoom is that because we've adjusted the controls, and Zoom is mainly set up for speaking. And they have enough controls in there that are meant to sort of get rid of background noise, i.e. music.
Yeah.
When we first were testing Zoom, in order to get the right sound, we actually had to call one of our mix engineers. He's like, okay, go into the Zoom settings now, disable that, check that box. So we have to be very, in order to get a good music sound, we're like not like right on top of the mic, sort of thing. So there's a compromise involved with Zoom in particular.
Yeah. Well, the thing I did just now, it did solve that problem a little bit. I can hear you a little bit more clearly, so I'm glad for that. So I'll take it. I'll take you however I can get you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just happy that you took the time to walk into your home studio and you get your instruments, and this is a real wonderful thing. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate having you as guests on the show today.
Thank you, James.
Yeah. Well, listen. Let me talk a little bit about your album so that it gives me some, that way we don't get to talking and I forget to mention a lot of things about it. There's a couple of standouts that you have on here because you're having like, I guess we still call them singles. You're having a single that you're being putting out. What would be the first one? Because I think Quitting Time is one of them and Everywhere I Go is another one, right? Mm-hmm. So which one is the one? I guess Quitting Time is going to be happening next month.
Yeah, that's the one that we shot a video in Nashville to. And in the Americana genre, there is no, quote, singles, but you premiere tracks. So there's sort of like singles. We've premiered Everywhere I Go and Summer of Love so far. Quit Time will be next month with the video. And then I think Devil Rose is going to come out next month. We have another video that's still in the works, an animation video.
Oh, good. Something new, huh?
Which was certainly been easier for us because we just hired an animator, a friend of ours who's a veteran video guy, to do it for us. As opposed to the Quitting Time video, which was shot in Nashville in January. And how cold was it, Laura?
I've never been so cold in my life.
Oh, no. It was one of those type of shoots, huh?
All outdoors.
All shot outdoors.
30 degrees.
You know what? I have a guest that I've interviewed. She's lived in New York City. She grew up where I am out here in California, and then she moved to New York City and been there for 20 something years. And then she just recently moved to Nashville, and she says this is the first winter she's had. She spent all those winters in New York City, and then when she moved to Nashville, she had no idea how cold it got. She said, so she was complaining that it's cold, and I said that was weird. Yeah.
It was unexpected. I didn't expect it to be that because I kept checking the weather and I thought, oh, this is like San Francisco weather. It's not going to be so bad. Boy.
But Laura had it the worst of all of us, myself and had the whole crew working on it because even though it was really cold, the rest of us were all bundled up. she's in the video in a little thin dress.
Oh no.
And the shoot was mainly outdoors for 2 straight days. She was getting cold.
That's something that we guys still don't understand fully. Having to wear a dress and have your legs, because I think you can wear nylons or stockings or something like that, but it still doesn't. It gets cold for women. No matter even if it's like 50 degrees, it's still it must be a chill and you can't take it.
Sure.
Yeah. So we keep talking about San Francisco. That's did you both grow up in that area in San Francisco?
We're both natives.
Yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised. What part of the Bay Area are you live in? Are you in the city?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
One block from Golden Gate Park.
No kidding. Oh, wow. You are downtown, aren't you? Almost. I have a son that moved over, across the bay to in Vallejo, and he's lived in different cities around there too. He's a coastie. He's a Coast Guard, and so he's been in probably 3 or 4 towns in that Bay Area. But my wife and I have just recently walked through the city for the first time in 30 years last year. So it was fun to revisit. How nice! That's a nice town. It's a nice city. We've forgotten how beautiful it gets.
It's a good walking town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is good walking town, and we did do the walking. Yeah, walk from the
exercise the hills.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we didn't go so many hills. We went right from the port to where did we go? We just went past Little Italy. So we did some walking. So then I guess when you were making music, you were playing in places that are local, restaurants or bars down there.
We were in a rock band for a few years. Put out a couple records. Signed to an indie label. Did a little bit of touring, but mostly been playing around town, trying to figure it out. The album itself, StrongWriter, was based upon someone we had met, and it does refer to as her specific love of being a long rider, which is somebody who goes out for rides, not for long amounts of hours in a day. She goes out and rides for 6 months, 12 months at a time. West Coast to East Coast, Canada to Mexico. Amazing story. Part of what related to us about that was that we feel we're both long riders in a sense, and a lot of people are. We've been playing music since we were teenagers, and still doing it. And it's been a beautiful, unexpected journey that you never know where it's going to lead to, like getting married, meeting somebody that you spend the rest of your life with. It's all sorts of interesting people you meet. That's what's so great about the job. It's not a Groundhog Day job. Right? It's the same thing.
Pardon me if this sounds like a silly question. Is this first time around for both of you? First love, or did you have a prior relationship before this? Or
I had one. I lived with somebody when I was in my early 20s for a few years. She was an opera singer, and I have to confess, as much as I love many different genres of music, opera is just not one of them. And I saw my future, and I'm like, boy, I don't know if I can be with somebody for the next X number of years or of my life who's an opera singer. I really just didn't like it. But I mean, other reasons why it ended up. And she actually, interestingly enough, became my business partner, and we worked together for many years.
She's a fantastic person. I love her.
Yeah, she's a really wonderful person.
Sounds good. Yeah. Well, it's nice that led up to this. Now this time, I'm trying to figure a timeline for your relationship. How long ago did you meet? When you did that, when you answered that ad and everything, and how long ago was this?
It's a long time ago. That was the late 80s.
Holy mackerel! I didn't realize it was that far back.
Oh yeah. ages ago.
I'm starting to think you robbed the cradle. You know, Laura doesn't seem like that. She's very young. This woman here.
She's definitely has kept up her appearances very well.
Yes, she does.
Uh,
So yeah, that's great. That sounds like a long, great trip of music. Yeah, if you're doing it for I don't know, we'll say 30 years. You've been doing this together. I had no idea.
We've been through a number of different projects, rock bands. We did some Latin music. We did sort of a French English pop thing. We did some dance music for a while.
Opera, right? No.
But the interesting thing is that my early influences seemed to come right back around when we started doing this, working more in the Americana genre, which really translated to a lot of things that we loved early on in music. I mean, I think that this genre translates well to listening to various rock bands, punk bands. There's a real simpatico and all that mixed together. So when we really fell into this, we realized, wow, this is really something that works well for us. It really fits us.
Yeah, and it seems natural for you. To me, it does.
Some of the guitar players I really admired and followed early on, who influenced me, are music that I use today as a guiding force. Stephen Stills, the Birds, those types of bands. I listened to when I was young, and it sort of came full circle, really.
Yeah.
So,
sounds good. The rock band, each project or each phase that you went through musically was Laura out there singing as part of this, or did she have to be in the background while you did other things?
Yeah, actually, Andy did a Latin rock band for a while with our friend Happy again, and it was called Los Mocosos.
right, that was the one thing I think I did that Laura wasn't involved with. But all the other band, all the other projects, she was always, she's the singer. She was out there. I mean, you hear her, how good she is.
Yeah, no, I can. That's the reason I was asking. I can almost picture her singing in rock and roll style with you guys. That she could totally do that. So, were you doing that, Laura? Were you singing rock and roll?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of it. I love rock, and that's what I love about what we're doing now. This Americana is, there's a lot of rock undercurrent there that
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little country, a little folk, a little rock. It's all kind of mixed up.
Yeah. I often say Americana is sort of the catch-all. If you want to mix them all together, you can't really make up your mind because all these influences, they're all a part of you. So hey, let's do Americana and see what they think. And a lot of times, those audiences, they really catch on and they love it because you're not just bringing. Maybe I don't know if it's a pure form, but not everybody loves one genre and one genre only. You come from different parts of you, different parts of your personality make it up.
Certainly, growing up in San Francisco, especially, the shows that were around that we could attend when we were younger, there was a lot of mix and match. I mean, it was not uncommon for Bill Graham, who ran a lot of concerts here,
Right.
to put Miles Davis and Grateful Dead in the same show, or 10 years after him, the Woody Herman Big Band. I mean, those kinds of that cross collateralization was really a big thing in the Bay Area. You got a lot of mix of jazz, folk, blues, rock, all on the same show. It wasn't compartmentalized like it is now, where everything's very, separated.
Yeah.
So I love that. It was a major influence on me growing up. So.
Yeah, music did tend to splinter off into many, many subgenres or whatever, but it's nice that I always said that Americana is a good one because now you can bring them all back together and put them over here, and then we can all play together in the same concerts, and people will still love, it's easier to pair all you guys up, if you want to put like several acts on a stage.
And I think that for the sound that's just sort of coming out for us in terms of songwriting, it could be as much as, it can be Johnny Cash and ARIAS as much as the Smiths and the Cocktail Twins and the Pretenders, it's all just sort of like, it's just all in there. We carry these influences, that we've had for many years that push through into songwriting, I think.
Yeah. So let me get back to Quitting Time, because I sort of interrupted that with my little technical problem here. But so you shot that video in Nashville, and Laura was saying how cold it was and everything, and so that must have been a challenge for you to like try to, because that sound, you have a nice emotional rendering of your vocal style on there. You put, has a nice classic country feel. We're talking about other genres, but almost sounds like, I don't know, right off the bat I was thinking Quitting Time, it almost sounds like the Judds maybe in the 80s, a little bit of that feel to it. Like Mama, He's Crazy, or those type of, not necessarily sad or depressing songs, but has nice melancholy feel, but still very, very hopeful and fun. But the subject matter, what is Quitting Time? Is that like breaking up song?
Yeah. I knew of somebody who was going through that, and it hit me. So I wanted to sing about it in an honest way, which really, I guess Americana really lends itself to honesty.
Yeah.
And so it just felt really good to kind of be raw and honest about it, and simplicity too. So, and it's something that everybody can identify with. Everybody's been there at some point, breaking up with someone, or having doubts about a relationship. It's just relatable.
Yeah. Plus, I like the fact that you used it, quitting time as a double meaning phrase. Usually you think of quitting time as like a time to go home, from work type of quitting time, but you used it in this context, and I like that. So those are the kinds of songs I wish I had written. At least you had a great idea, and you related it from a personal place. So that's nice. Are other songs that you wrote are autobiographical to you, Laura?
I would say the song called "Lieu" on
right.
next release is autobiographical because, again, I thought it was a relatable theme of just when you get so down in the depths, but I thought the twist for me was it's not necessarily a negative thing. Again, it's just you're being honest with yourself. I feel bad, or I feel sad about whatever, and it's just, I guess it's just, you can kind of mind that and you're allowed to feel that way, and you don't need to take something for it or have a shot at something for it. I'm not being judgmental about handling it that way, but I just think that it's kind of an old-fashioned way of handling depression, maybe, or feeling blue, is just feeling it, allowing yourself to go through it, and being okay with that.
Seems appropriate to have something like that when other people can listen to that and go, and maybe they'll latch onto it and they'll say, "Oh, I kind of like what she wrote there in that song. It sounds like something I could go through and I can listen to a song and make me forget my troubles a little bit." Who knows? Depression's a tough thing, especially this year. I'm hearing a lot of stories, and it gets me right in the heart. So I can understand how you'd write a song like that.
That song was an interesting, had an interesting path because I'd written the music and a different set of lyrics, and we sort of went through the whole process of recording it. And in the end, I said, I really love the music. The lyrics aren't doing it for me. I wasn't able to say what I wanted to say. And then separately, Laura had suggested, well, I wrote this song a few years back that I really love. Maybe we should think about doing that. And I love the lyrics, but musically it wasn't right. So it's like, okay, well, no, so that's not going to work. But I woke up early the next morning and went to the studio. It was like 7:30 a.m. And I said, what if I put her lyrics onto my music? Let's see if that works. And I tried it and I sang it, and it fit perfectly. And I woke her up and said, you got to come to the studio. We've got to track this right now. Okay, let's do a verse and a chorus and see if it works. And it did, and then that was that.
Oh, what a beautiful thing. That's good.
Where, you can just write straight on songs like, I wrote in 20 minutes, great. Or you have this much more winding path like this one that just when it fit well.
And the original, my original version of the song was more of a rocker, was heavier, and Andy put it over his music, his composition, which was more Americana, more
it's kind of like I think of it like a Smith song,
Okay, yeah.
Really sort of bouncy, melodic songs with these, lyrics, like girlfriend in a coma, things like that, where he might be singing about things that are more down, introspective, paired with this bouncy, fun, melodic stuff. And that song really kind of reminds me of the Smiths in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be too assumptive, by the way. When I was asking Laura about those two songs, that assuming that she writes everything. I don't know how you guys create your songs. Are you composing a lot of the music, Andrew, and then also lyrics, or is she are you taking each apart in this?
We tend to write separately. I wrote most of the songs on the record. Laura and I wrote a lot together, and I wrote one with a woman who's a friend of ours who's a documentary filmmaker. We were writing some songs for her film that she was doing on Bernice Henday, the lady songwriter, to see if we could get a song or two in there. But I think one of the songs made it onto the documentary, which is out now. So I tend to be more prolific. Laura's, I think her writing comes out more and spurs mine. I just sort of force it, and tend to come up with a lot more material. But a lot of those songs don't make it onto the album. To me, they're all just experiments.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah.
And you hope that you get better each time, and then each song has redeeming qualities. Some are just better than others. This is the way it is. So we'll work separately. Songs like Laura writes, because I'm playing all the music, I'll tend to sort of tweak them out, whatever. But ultimately, there's in all the songs there's a lot of collaboration, because even on the songs I'm writing, when we're tracking, she's changing lyrics. Like that doesn't sing well. I don't think that says it the correct way. So she's. If I wrote the song and wrote the lyrics, by the time it gets to the record, they're not the same as when I originally wrote them, because she's jumping in and putting in her 2 cents. So we collaborate. No matter who's the original songwriter, we'll have our hands in there pretty much kind of all the way along the process.
So you do it in different ways, but you've kind of figured out a good way that works for you, Are you, when you say you're working separately, do you give each other hints that, hey, I'm working on something that, like Laura might say, I'm working on something called Quitting Time, or whether she had the title or not, and then will she give you hints that she's working on something, or did she, when she has the idea, does she bring it to you to see if you got some music for it?
I brought something to Andrew the other day that, I gave him a little sneak preview. No, and then I even brought our son into it, who's a teenager.
Oh no.
That really wanted to know, and I need to get the thumbs up from him that I was going in the right direction. And yeah, sometimes we definitely.
I think that we start separately and then we'll pitch each other, like we're each other's A&R.
Uh-huh.
And it has to meet the smell test, pass the smell test for both of us to get a song onto the record. I think for this record, for StrongWriter, we probably wrote 20 plus songs, and 10 of them made it the final album. 2 of them made it. There were 2 additional songs that made it all the way through the recording, mix, mastering process. And when we finally heard the entire record together, we said those 2 not quite as strong as the other 10. Pull them off.
And Andrew was even considering taking up Rollercoaster, which I had a real problem with. So we kind of tussled with that one.
Oh, really?
Well,
I love that. I love
and
that.
I think we have an inner circle of people who listen for us, and they all like the song. They all love the song. And I think it wasn't that I didn't love the song. I was at that point of the process where I couldn't tell anymore.
Yeah.
You work on things, you work on it so intensely, just like for me especially, doing all the music, working on it so intensely that I'm lost in the forest. I can't see the big picture at a certain point. So fortunately, I have a few people, or included, who talk me down. Because sometimes I just can't tell anymore.
That's interesting. You say the inner circle thing. That are these just like personal friends that you send maybe send a file to, or do you get them together to listen to it, or how does this all work?
We send them information. We send them songs.
Yeah, so they can listen to it and they'll tell you what they think. Yeah.
Right. Two really good friends who were mix engineers for us. They each had a hand in mixing some of the songs on the record. And we have another good friend who's an A&R guy, and he listens as well. So we're getting opinions from 3 or 4 different people about what we're writing, and fortunately they're brutally honest and very positive in their comments to us. And most of what they're saying back to us we incorporate. Sometimes we're like, no. I don't think that's where I want to go, but
that's reasonable. Yeah,
it's hard to because we're doing this on our own in the studio, and other than the drummer, there are no other musicians on this record, and I'm playing pretty much everything else on there, and it's hard to be able to think of everything.
Tell me about it. I understand.
Yeah. So our mix engineers will be like, say something like, maybe the bridge, we should cut 2 bars, or maybe, we take, we go verse, bridge, chorus instead of verse, chorus, bridge, and those kinds of things which I just can't see. At a certain point, I can't see that.
Yeah.
I can see most of it. I can envision most of it, but I never say I can do it all. I'm not Prince. We're not that way.
Yeah. Yeah, Prince comes along once in a, like that Christmas Star that's going to happen tonight. You just.
Paul McCartney just recorded his latest album. He played everything.
Yeah.
That's a unique individual who can do it well.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I can relate to that because I like to play so many of the instruments. If I'm making a demo or I'm just trying to amuse myself, I'm almost playing every instrument until it comes to a solo, and then I'll defer to somebody who can do that a lot better with a guitar and drums. I know how to do some good percussion, but I can't work a drum kit like I don't think I want to. It's too late to learn something like that to me. So I can see why you get a drummer. It helps you think better.
Oh my God! Sure. And then to me, a drummer of a band is just like maybe the most important person in the whole atmosphere of a band.
Yeah.
We've been very fortunate. The first album we did, the drummer we used was Jay Lane, who was a longtime drummer for Bob Ware, and then on this current record, we used the drummer for Marion Morris, who we've actually never met. We've corresponded, we swapped files, but I've never lived in Nashville, lived in San Francisco.
Right.
Just sort of I reached out to him, and he agreed to play on the record, and we just swapped Pro Tools files. And he was incredibly good. He's also, besides being the drummer for Marion Morris, he's the band leader for Marion. He has his own recording studio. So he's quite a talented guy.
You know, I'm thinking that there's so much of this. I've been getting to know a lot of people out in Nashville, and it seems like that stuff's going on all the time. You know, you got to keep up with it. And you got to, you know, once you make some friends, you want to keep them because things move fast around you.
Well, the bar is set quite high.
It is. I agree with you. Yes. That you were talking about an album that you did. You didn't do that too long ago. It was last year or the year before that, right?
Yeah, we did an album. The first album was released last summer. It's called Gone South.
Uh-huh.
And this album was supposed to be released this summer. And for the obvious reasons, it wasn't.
Plans change. I wonder why. You know.
Just, you know, there was a point where we didn't know when or how we were going to release it, and then along, you know, being helped along in a very big way by our management, Olivia Anderson, Aaron Anderson, and Olivia Management. She came up with really good plans to see our way through it. She's done an amazing job. All of our artists share.
Aaron's an amazing person. She's
Truly
fantastic.
Challenging year.
Couldn't do it without her.
So after, you know, things started to become clear, our route to how to release the album and when to release it sort of got reformulated. And here we are. It's coming out in January. We're planning on, because we really love to record and to write songs, we're planning on putting out a record every single year. We're already working on the record for the beginning of 2022. We're in the middle, even as we promote this record. So you kind of, you know, as a songwriter, you can't stop.
Yeah.
I
I thought that was the neighbors waking up there. No, that's. It just seems what you were saying. It seems like 2022. It seems so funny to even say that. You know, here we are. It was one thing to say. Who a lot of people thought 2020 was going to be a spectacular year. It was so much fun. I think just because, you know, even like the year 2000, you were thinking all, you know, way in the future, all these great things were going to happen. And just time moves along. You mind me asking about the release of this of StrongWriter? I mean, you're going to release it now, but was it ready to go at an earlier date? Were all the songs done and ready to release it?
It was ready in March, February, March. It was locked up.
Wow.
All done. So we've been sitting on it for almost a year. So
I'm hearing a lot of stories of now. Yours is right there on the cusp. There, you know, that's when the year started to take a weird turn. And March, you could have been. There's a lot of stuff that could have happened, but now it hasn't. Right. So, what were you planning to do? Did you have a like a CD release party and some touring, or, you know, dates ready to go?
Start do some booking, and started, you know, thinking about hiring the usual sort of people for the team, you know, the digital marketing and the radio promoter and the video promoter, and all that just got completely put on hold. We were supposed to go back to Nashville a second time to shoot pictures for the album cover and single covers in early March, and we started to think, well, maybe that's not a good idea because of this virus thing. And then the tornado hit Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
For that, but that was a serious,
Scary, really.
serious
Horrible.
editor. And that put the kibosh on the whole thing. Our video director was going to shoot photos. She's quite a good photographer as well. No power for 3, 4, 5 days.
Oh gosh, that's a long time to have it out.
It's pretty serious.
Yeah.
The album itself has been a long ride. It's
Yeah.
a recurring theme.
Yeah.
It seems like such dark and awful things to think about, but this is what a lot of people have gone through. This is where it's the payoff, all this hard work and the money you put into, for getting it, just right. And now it's time to, birth the baby, so to speak, and introduce it to the world. And then and you can't do it the way you wanted to. So I'm interviewing a lot of people. This is what they all go through. And you have to think of maybe not a plan B, but you got to figure out how to move forward and do it the way up until this point now. So you've had like 7, 8, 9 months maybe to figure out how to get this off the ground like you're doing right now. You're going to release it now, finally. Were you doing anything in the meantime to try to get people's interest? Did you try to find any presence online, or were you able to perform any place that was able to do that?
We haven't played. We had some gigs that were canceled,
Uh-huh.
and we were trying to figure out how to keep momentum going while we were figuring out how to release the album. So you have a continued presence on social media.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to play a Porch Fest, which turned into a Couch Fest. And that was our very first live stream. It was very humble. We've come a long way.
So you tried that out. That's good. So
It worked. It was the typical, early live stream story, because we set it up and kicked the live stream off at the time we were supposed to play. Our son was monitoring in the next room. He said, "Oh, you're not live. You're not live." I'm like, "Oh no, panic, And then 2 minutes later, it's like, "Oh no, you're live now." And great, okay, so we played the show. Then the next day, Laura told me that there were 2 videos.
Why are there 2 videos up there? What's that?
Why are there 2 videos up on
One's
YouTube?
about 5 minutes long, and the other one's,
25 minutes long. It turned out the first one was the panic.
The
Oh my
first
God,
one was
it's
live
on.
streaming pure panic because we didn't think we couldn't figure out why we were going.
What we didn't realize at that point is that it takes a minute or so to kick in. The live.
Nobody told us.
Yeah, nobody told us. We were working with a fellow artist who's a live stream veteran, and he gave us all the inside technical details. But somehow he didn't mention, you need to start the live stream like a minute before.
yeah.
It led to a little confusion, but we've come a long way. I think that, I don't want to think of 2020 as such a the extraordinary year that it has been on the downside.
Uh-huh.
Hope to look back on it and remember some good things about it as well. We wrote and recorded most likely of what the next record's going to be. We wrote all year long and recorded demos, and now we're in final production. So it was a very good year for creativity for us. It certainly affected the songs we wrote. There's no question about that. I think the songs tend to focus, the next record tend to focus on stories of bravery and people who had to fight through to gain acceptance, their rights, that sort of thing. So that was, and it gave us time to figure all this out.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that you have that attitude. I think, and plus just, being together the length of time that you've been. I mean, my wife and I have been together since the 80s too. So I understand. 82 is when we met, and when you have a history together and you know that you're working through it, you'll get through anything, you know. So if you have the right attitude, I think that, you know, the two of you, I can just guess by looking at you two that you were able to sort of get through this as best as you can, given the set of tools and skills that you both were blessed with. So I think it's working out. But I know you want to be doing something much more, you know, than what you're restricted to these days.
It'd be nice to know that, we've got a whole tour planned the summer of 2021,
Yeah.
but of course we don't. And I don't think anybody does really. So one step at a time. We'll do a bunch of streams, and that'll be fun and interesting.
So anyway, I try not to dive deep into despair. That's not what that's. But I like to be honest, at least, you know, because I think that people, when they hear you tell stories like you're telling me right now, and experiences, that they can understand. Oh yeah, these people are going through. I went through that kind of stuff too, and they seem to have a good plan or a good optimistic outlook. You know, you can be realistic and optimistic at the same time. Those two don't have to be separate.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You're home all the time, and you're a songwriter, you have a studio.
Yeah.
You know.
Plus, if this is the life you chose, I know that this is because this is what your love is. I think this is what you wanted to do with your lives full time, especially as a couple. You know.
Yeah. I mean, we're so blessed. You know, everybody's healthy that we know. And we're healthy, so.
Good. You have family around you that are close by, like in your area, or are they somewhere else in the country?
Both, but mostly near us. So that's great.
That's good. So you can get on the phone and stuff, and keep connected, and keep yourself sane that way too. So it's not just the two of you locked up in a tin can, so to speak, or in a wooden box.
Well, we usually host Thanksgiving, and that means 25 to 30 people every year have been here.
Oh yeah,
Three of us, our son, two of us, and I wasn't impressed about that. I was a little sad because the next day I realized, like, where was that loud, messy, fun party with the 17 empty wine bottles and tons of dishes left over the next day? Like, it wasn't there. And I really missed it. I think Thanksgiving for us and for me, it's my favorite holiday because it's the one time of the year when everybody has motivation to get together, you know, to cook, to hang out.
Right, the smell of the house, the people getting together and talking, and whatever, TV or whatever, you know, maybe getting together playing something. Who knows, you know, depending on who you are. We had a similar thing, you know. We're used to kind of a smaller gathering, maybe about 10, 15 people, and this time we went up to my son's place in Vallejo, like close to you guys. And so we were just up there Thanksgiving, and it was only like maybe 5 of us, you know. The legal limit, as they say, what the governor was saying, you know, you don't go over 5. So we didn't get in trouble that way, but you know, we're used to more than we had, but we still gave thanks.
That's great.
Yeah. And we're still, you know, we of course, like many people did, we zoomed in with our relatives throughout that day, and toasted each other and hung out. And
I think we had like 4 or 5 Zoom meetings that day.
Yeah. And I don't discount that either. Zoom is fun. Is as much fun as, you know, when you know, back in the days when you would just get on the phone and pass it around and say, hey, you know, Uncle Bobby's over here. Let's pass the phone around. He wants to talk to everybody, you know, that kind of thing. So you can still feel the love through the phone line, but it's the same with Zoom.
That's right.
As you probably guessed, we get off on different subjects, but it always comes back around to you know, to music and the thrill and the how it touches your soul. I can tell music is in you both, and that this is what you love to do. I'm glad that you made this album, because I really enjoyed listening to it and trying to guess if Laura was writing all these things. But some of us used to sort of taking liberties, right? You know, you're like Quitting Time. You said it wasn't about you, but it was more about somebody else I was thinking the Devil Road was something that you wrote about you. I don't know if that's if that's partially true, or did you take some liberties there too?
You're a good guesser, Dean. Yes. Yes, it is a little bit about me.
I'm just saying, I'm complimenting. I like that. It was I like that song, Devil Road. It was cool.
That was Laura original from top to bottom.
Right on.
And I literally didn't have to do anything to it musically. It just flowed.
So, and then, yeah, they both, it was like one after the other. The way, at least the track listing order, came out real nice. And then right after you had Take a Step, I think we talked about that earlier. That's amped up. That even goes faster. It's another little two-step type of song, which was really, the thing I was really impressed with, Andrew, was the guitar work in there. I loved, the double guitars or whatever was being played there. I thought I was listening to some pedal steel there, but it sounds like maybe it's just guitar work. Is that what's going on?
It's just guitar work, and I have a lot of instruments in my arsenal. Sort of have one of everything. A 6-string acoustic, a 12-string acoustic, nylon string acoustic, tally. I have one of those baritone guitars, which I may have used in that song. So a resonator guitar. So I'm doing a lot. There's a lot of layering of guitar work on there. A lot of doubling. I use the Nashville sound. I don't know if you know about that from a recording process point of view, where you take all the low strings off a 12 string.
Yeah.
You play something on an acoustic 6-string or an electric 6-string, and then you double it with a 12 string with just high strings on it. So you kind of get that 12 string feel, but you can get the mix just right. Just if you don't want that full on 12 string sound, you just add a little bit of the high 12 string, just a little shimmer. It makes it full without that like really fat 12 string sound. So there's a lot of different pieces of the puzzle on all the songs, including that one.
Yeah.
It's the constant search to find all the puzzle pieces to fit together to make the song sound well.
I enjoyed that a lot. Hey, Laura, do you when you see all these guitars, can you relate to that, or do you say to Andrew, why so many guitars?
Oh, no, I'm trying to, between my son, our son, and me, we're always trying to convince him to buy more guitars because we get to play with them,
And she has a couple guitars down in her studio room as well, electric and acoustic. Her son's got a couple guitars too. He's taught himself how to play. So yeah, there's a lot of guitars in this house. I have allowed myself to buy the guitars that I think I really need. I would love to have 10 different electric 6-strings, but I want those. I don't need them. Everything I've got here, I need. They all get used. I need a big, palette. It's like having all the colors on the palette for the artist.
Yeah. It sounds like you had them. You have at least the ones that you're describing. You have just the right ones that you need, so that you can just sort of pick out the flavor and the tone that you like. So I think this would be great for this song. Let me try this out first. Oh yeah, I love it. So
I tend to be a perfectionist when it comes to guitar playing and recording. So work really hard at that.
I'm a perfectionist, so I relate to that. Go ahead. What was that, Laura?
I'm sorry, I just said I can attest to that. Real perfectionist.
Well, that's good that she understands. You two seem to be very compatible, very much in sync when it comes to creating stuff. And
it's sweet and sour.
Well, you discern which one was which, so I know that. I think I was guessing it all along. I'm not saying that you're sour, Andrew, but you said it first, so that's good. You don't want to say that to her.
Yeah, sure.
What I'm really excited about is that you've you've agreed to do a couple of songs. You can do as many or as few as you like. You know, I sent you a list of my 3 favorite ones, and I can't even remember because now that I've been listening to it, I'm liking all 10 tracks just as much as more than before. But there were a few that stood out. I think. Did I say that Rollercoaster was one of them I liked? Yeah. I thought that was a good one. Yeah. What sounds like one that you'd be prepared to do right this second that we haven't talked about yet?
We worked up, and we just had a friend of ours come over and set up our lighting for us. So we've got different lighting scenes that will go with the song. So this first one is called Everywhere I Go.
Okay.
And let me switch this over. Look how professional we are.
This is Everywhere I Go?
Everywhere I Go.
Okay. I'm going to get out of the way. You go right ahead.
Everywhere I go.
Only one set of hands clapping. Sorry, that's all I can give you. That's a fantastic. I've listened to the original that you put on in the studio, and you can almost listen to the words a little bit more. But what? So is this something that you came up with, Laura? Did you write all that?
No, this is Andy's. Andy came up with this one when he was approached by our friend who was making a documentary about the Lady Longrider. And so this is really her story.
Oh.
Yeah, she's an amazing person, and the song is really just about her feeling comfortable wherever she was, and the amount of help that she received from people, strangers, who just turned into friends like so quickly. Just need to come in for a meal. Can we shelter your horses somewhere while you stay overnight? I mean, she literally camped out, for 6 months, 9 months, a year at a time, riding. She had a second horse, her pack horse, and her dog most of the time sat on a special saddle, riding on top of the horse, the pack horse with her. But it's just, I think it relates to a bigger point of view of just how we all should try to feel at home no matter where we are. Life, to a certain extent, really isn't that permanent as we move through it. And, for her and for all of us, what keeps us going, what keeps us comfortable, our friends, our family, the memories we all carry, as the lyrics in the chorus talk about, we've got these spirits in our saddle. So we're taking all that with us, and hopefully we can all be comfortable kind of wherever we are, and receive love and help from people who are close to us and people that we've just met. It's a fascinating story.
Yeah. Well, my compliments where that belongs now, because I was fooled. Laura sings it with such conviction. I would have swore that she was singing that from a personal experience. So that's really nice to hear that the story that you just told, Andrew. Thanks. I wasn't expecting that story. Sorry, that's great. It's a great thing.
It's very touching. I mean,
yeah.
Our friend Ren Winfield, who's a documentary filmmaker amongst her many talents, just asked us to write some songs that might make it into the film, and really share her story. And just the images were very powerful and really inspiring to write to, and quickly evolved into bigger themes that we kind of wanted to put forth. So, want to hear another one?
Yeah, absolutely. What you got on tap here? I'm letting you go ahead, because I think I've already told you ahead of time what I liked. So, but
we're gonna do,
give me what you like.
A song called "My Best Friend."
Okay.
By the end of the song, we'll kind of have an idea as to who the best friend is.
Strung with 6 strands of metal, how can a piece of wood take us so many places? Love song, Lord, I'll make a strum, play a reggae, or 12-bar blues. Here's a joy held by my side, he's never let me down. Even in my dark woman to and fought and died for, risked his life to save her when the fire broke out. Here's the joy with him by my side. He's never let me down. Even in my darkest hour, my best friend's always around. My best friend's always around. My best friend's always around. Yeah, my best friend is always around. My miser, my telly, and my dog roll.
Love that.
Thank you.
I sure appreciate that you're doing a couple songs live. This is you're gonna be surprised when you hear this back, because I was telling you about that echo a little bit. It has a very interesting sound now. So you would swear that Sam Phillips produced this back in the old days. A little echo there, like a Wanda Jackson or something. But I'm enjoying that. That was a nice. Once again, I'm comparing them a little bit to the studio, but this is you really do have some nice feeling. What a lovely voice you have, Laura. I mean, this is was this a natural thing for you when you started? Just like you got it in your head, I'm going to be a singer now.
Are you a mind reader? Because that's pretty much exactly what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to come from in here, basically. But I mean, you didn't have to have any training to like learn how to take care of it and keep it strong and everything.
No, I probably should have, but I'm so autodidactic. You know, I just taught myself how to play guitar, I taught myself how to sew, I taught myself how to sing by listening to all my favorite singers.
Yeah.
On records. So.
Well, don't take too much stock in my question. It's just that don't fix what's not broken.
I think it's one of the things that makes this work for us. I'm a very sort of studied, really attention to detail perfectionist, and she never studied music in school. She's such a natural, but it gives her freedom. I am lost to a certain extent and have to try to force myself out of patterns, out of things that I could easily fall back on, not repeating myself. And she just has this completely different way of looking at songs and music. There was a song that we were working on for the next record, and she said, well, I like the song, but the chorus isn't strong for me. I hear this melody, and she sang me the melody, and I put the chorus to it, and it worked great. But I never could have thought of that. My training would not have allowed me to have that freedom to just think that openly about that particular melody, for example. So
she has a very good range, I can tell. But when you're just sitting there plunking around on the guitar, thinking up some cool melody or progression or whatever like that, are you always hearing Laura's voice in your head, thinking that this is something I think she could sing? I better make sure it's in this key because I know this would be perfect for her to sing.
Absolutely. When I write songs, I'm always writing for her.
Thank you.
She's, I'm kind of the technician. She's the magic, and the song has to work for her. And one of the first things we do, after I play a song that I've just written for her, she likes it enough for us to record a demo. The next thing, of course, is to find where's the right key. We'll work through 3, 4, 5 different keys, figuring out where's the sweet spot for her voice. In fact, when we did our very first radio interview a year or so ago, I went to the radio station, and unfortunately our mix engineer was in town working with us. So we went to the radio station, and it was kind of a raucous show, 2 hosts and a variety of guests. And me being the perfectionist, I think I had everything ready. We're in the green room, And I realized as I opened my guitar case, I forgot my capo. And the songs we were going to play were up, a step and a half. And I was.
No.
It was
tough, yeah.
Man.
So if I had to figure something out, she was going to sing them in a lower register than where her sweet spot was.
Yeah.
It was really funny. So I didn't know what to do, and fortunately our very smart mix engineer was along with us and said, just tune the guitar up a step. Like, oh, okay. And I did, and it worked fine. But that's sort of a running joke now. They
Don't get your capo.
yeah, it's like
I bought him a t-shirt that said capo on it.
never
shirt.
My buddy, he was, I don't know what he called himself. He called himself Human Capo or something like that because he had no trouble. If I had something that I was going to sing, he was going to play the guitar, I said, oops, this should be up like, maybe 3 frets up because I forgot to tell you that this is the key I wanted in. And he says, oh, no problem. He never used a capo. He could just tune it. And I mean, he knew what key to start in. So
that's great.
Some people can do that,
I don't need a capo, but there's so much of these songs revolve around the voicings on the guitar, getting that certain open feel. And the challenge for me in playing live as a duo is that we're starting with full band, multiple tracking songs with a number of guitar parts, and now we have to boil it down to just one vocal, one guitar. And it's fun. It puts a whole different spin on things. Challenging.
I really do relate that you're a perfectionist because that's my wheelhouse. I am, believe it or not, I am married to a sweet, and I am the sour as well because that's probably how we've gotten along. She, I was much more sour back in the old days, but and very frustrated because if I was trying to create some nice piece of music, I would agonize over it because it was just not, I don't know if you relate to this, Andrew, but if I wanted to make a song and I'm singing it, whether I'm thinking that Laura's going to sing it or not, I would be playing it, and then I'd go, I can sing it more comfortably in a higher key, but I don't like the way it sounds in that key. I'd rather have it down here, and that's the kind of stuff I would go crazy in my head. Go, this is not right. I'd be torn because either I can go down, keep it in the original key I'm playing it in, and try to sing lower where it's not as comfortable. I don't know if you deal with that or you just naturally know this is how Laura sings. I like the way she sings in this range. I'm going to create it in this key now.
I try to start with the key that I think she should work in. A lot of times we will shift key up a step or a step and a half. And there's always a way for me to figure out how to play the song in that key. So I'll use a number of different tunings. I'll capo, trying to get the right kind of sound that I feel is necessary for the song. But in the end, it's all about what's the right key for her. Yeah. Everything else I can work around that. But there's no getting around where her sweet spot is in her vocal range.
It needs to be that way, right? Because otherwise, it's got to come. You got to make her sound as natural as she can be, and not strained or forcing it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a big. It's such a big difference depending on what key you're in for a song. It really does make a difference.
I love talking about your music, but I love talking about, other little things, those little nuances that you don't always get in another show, but some of these tracks are just fun to listen to. I liked Angels of the Trail, and I was curious who wrote that and of the two of you.
That was another one I wrote, and it was another song I got inspired by our friend Ren, the filmmaker. Because she was talking about how there were some important people in the life of the lady Longrider, who really helped her when she was at a point of uncertainty. And I just thought that it just resonated so much with me about, when people are sort of at a dead end, you don't really know where to go. There always seems to be somebody there who can lead the way for you, sort of point you like, try there, and it may not be, so many times it's unexpected, and may not be a person that you know very well or at all, but there are always people who are literally angels of the trail. They're there for you, along your path in life that will help you find the right thing. Many years ago, when I was in college, I was headed to law school, and I was working towards a business degree. My father was a lawyer and was a judge, and a friend of mine's father had a tax accounting business, and his father was retiring. He said, "Hey, you want to come work this job?" I'm like, "Oh, you mean only work 4 months a year and then play music the rest of the time? That sounds good." And I took a left turn and ended up starting my own business a few years later, and I did that for a number of years, creating my own tax accounting firm. And that was just like that person was an angel of the trail for me. It created this opportunity that changed my life. And I think a lot of people have that. These important people in their lives that come in and maybe just pass through.
Yeah.
Don't stick around, but they have an influence on you. And that's where Angels of the Trail came from.
What is the status on this documentary? Has it been finished? The one about Longrider?
It's finished. It's out. It's called Lady Longrider.
Okay.
Amazing story of this woman, Bernice Ende, who.
How do you find it? Does your website tell you where to go see it?
No, actually,
Thanks, that's a great idea. I don't know why we don't have a link up there.
Yeah, I wanted to.
To do that.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it was an important influence on us.
I'll be one of the first to check it out because you already got my interest peaked here. So.
Yeah. And our friend Ren, who was a filmmaker, is an extremely talented person who just did a great job on the film. So it's absolutely worth checking out. It's a great, beautiful, uplifting story.
Is there anything in it about Laura standing in the Nashville cold filming that video?
There might be a song there too.
You could write a song about that whole thing, yeah. Now, what was it like being in Nashville? Was that your first time ever there? Mm-hmm. So your first experience was a cold one, but what did you think of, were you kind of like sort of sequestered in that one area and you didn't really get to see much else?
Yeah, we had one free day on a Saturday after we wrapped up the shoot, but Friday night I got sick, like really the sickest I think I've ever been. It felt like. I'm wondering. Now I look back and wonder, did I have that darn COVID thing? Because I felt so bad.
Yeah.
So we stayed in that whole day before the last day.
That was strange.
One day.
We were going we go eat and see music.
Sorry.
Had you gone on tours, in other states as your group before Three Pairs of Boots was going on?
Yeah, we did one or two tours with the rock band that we were in, and I did some touring with that with my Latin funk extravaganza.
Well, that sounds interesting. I don't know is there any of that out there for anybody to check out? Your past?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Our good friend Happy Sanchez and I, who along with a few other people, had started a Latin music label in the 90s, completely without thought or preparation. We just like, let's do this. And off we went and quickly spent all the money we had put in and had to like bootstrap it for 2 or 3 more years after that. But one of the things that came out of it is that we started this band called Los Cosos, and Happy brought on a bunch of his friends, and we put a record out because the other people on the label asked us to. And within 3 gigs, we were out opening for Spearhead, touring up and down the West Coast. It was a fairly dysfunctional outfit. I lasted about a year, and then I was off, and it ran a few more years. But now, our friend Happy sort of put it back together, and they just released an album with some of the original members, mostly new members. So it's still there. Happy was another angel of the trail.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. He's such a peach.
He's a character. He's salty.
Heart of gold.
Yeah, heart of gold.
Salty.
And he's helped us with a number of projects. He was actually the third pair of boots.
Originally.
He was the guy who came in and helped us get started with our songwriting and this whole genre.
I mean, he never lets us rest in the sense that, if we've got the cobwebs, not doing music for a while, he comes in and drags us by the tail and says, you gotta keep working. You have to keep so.
He does it in a good way, I assume, because you don't sound like it's a drag.
Oh well.
That's a double meaning. It's a drag, and you got dragged in, but you had a good time, huh?
Well, yeah, but no. I mean, there was one project where he did have to drag me in because I was raising a small child, and I thought, I don't have time to be making.
Well, that's a good thing that you bring up, because you mentioned that you have a teenager now, but there's a long period of time that the child was part of your musical experiences. How did you raise him along with this musical life? Was it normal for him?
Yes, he was always here when we were working on stuff in the studio. He was just there with his Legos or his books, or he was always in the mix with us. And of course, he became a musician himself, because now he plays guitar and all over the house. And
there's one funny story I can recall from a record we did with Happy many years ago, and we went and had it mastered. And of course, I had listened to it many times over during the recording process. We had it mastered, and I was listening to it on the way home, and there was this funny sound in like the first line, the second verse of some song. Like I'd never heard that. Like, what is that? I didn't recognize it. I hadn't heard it before. Of course, mastering brings out all the nuances. It's like it's the final step, and it brings out things that you might otherwise not have heard before. So I went home and I pulled up that song, and pulled up all the tracks, and went one by one, and there it was. It was our son. He was like 3 years old, and he's talking while Laura is tracking a vocal. And I had never noticed before, but when the mastering happened, it came out clear as a bell. Like, oh, we need to track this one line again and remaster the song, because it was very obvious at that point. But it was just funny that there he was. I mean, literally, he was on the floor the whole time we're tracking. Putting his Legos together.
How nice! It's got a little bit of a fingerprint on your music there. So
there's something that's subconscious for him, because earlier on in his life, he had a drum set, took drum lessons, we ran piano, took vocal lessons, and he was pretty good at all of them. He just didn't practice. So it was sort of clear, like, okay, you're not interested in that, great. And at some point, I think people thought that he wasn't going to be a musician. And then a couple years ago, I was like, Dad, can you teach me this song on the guitar? And he just picked it up real quickly. I still show him things from time to time, but he's learning a lot on his own.
That's good. Hey, it can't hurt, right? Who knows what will happen when he's leaves the nest one day. He may carry that with him, or maybe he'll become a musician on his own. Who's to say, right? You got to let him do his own path, right?
It's a great thing to pass along to your children, the love of music. It doesn't matter whether they are a professional musician or not, or just the ability to play and enjoy how it feels, and just the humanity, I think, of music, just makes them a better person.
Yeah.
So we're very happy that he's,
And I have a theory too that it keeps kids out of trouble.
Yeah.
Rehearsing, he's practicing, and I love that.
It certainly has kept him busy, while he's going to school here, online. He plays guitar a lot, and I think that's just a great thing for him to have, to let out his emotions outside of this this lockdown that he is unable to see his friends, hang out, socialize as much as he wants to. I mean, they still, they're texting, they're Zooming, they're doing whatever, but it's not the same.
And let's face it, also keeping him out of trouble is you two getting after him, reminding him, stay out of trouble. And I'm saying that in a nice way. That's the way we raised our kids, and they stayed out of trouble by having activities like that. My kid was in band and played trombone, but he had a guitar much like what you're playing right there, Andrew, like that style. And he learned it, and he still carries that with him as a something he loves to do in his spare time, just sort of strum that thing, and he got real good too. So
parenting is an awesome thing to go through. Certainly challenging, has its ups and downs, but just a fantastic experience.
Yeah. Well, more compliments on Laura's voice. Really was it was nice to hear you do those things live just now, those two songs, and they you can tell that the recordings, they capture your essence, because sound just as bright and beautiful on the record. There's no tricks. There's no audio tricks. That's a beautiful set of pipes she has, Andrew. Don't you think?
We do not have to use auto-tune.
No, you don't have to. Yeah.
At all. It's simply not necessary. She has really good pitch besides her the quality of the instrument.
I looked at a piece of paper written about her and her voice, trying to say what she sounds like, cross between Cyndi Lauper or Shania Twain. They're somewhere in the middle. I can sort of hear that when she was singing those songs. I also heard other, a lot of those 80s singers, because that's my reference point. I love to listen to all those singers in the 80s. But she had almost a Susanna Hoffs, the Bangles. She sounded a little bit like that on Everywhere I Go, I think. And another, there was another song I heard that just sort of harkens back. In other words, she has her own style, but she has a nice, it brings a good feeling when you listen to it, because it almost gives you a nice, comfortable feeling of good things in the past. Very classic.
I think she has a lot of classic pieces to her singing and her approach in terms of country singers. I think of Annie Lieu and Patsy Cline and Dolly, Loretta Lynn. I think she's a lot of that humanity and honesty in her voice.
Yeah, sometimes you can hear the teardrop in her voice every once in a while. She's got that down real good, so she can tug at your heartstrings with just a few notes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, I didn't rehearse that. Hopefully I said it right. I said it good in a good enough way so that you got the picture that I like how you and he combined together to make a real nice record. So I really enjoyed that. Is there anything else that you can play, or are you done? Because I don't want to make you. If you had one more on tap, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, we have another one worked up. One that you mentioned. This is Rollercoaster.
Okay, she had a little thing to say about it earlier. Like, there was this a good thing that you wrote Rollercoaster? Did she? Maybe you could just tell me a little story so that we can precede it.
This one came from. I just somehow maybe it was with some friends who were having some problems. But it was just kind of a story I felt I wanted to write, and the idea of the roller coaster as it relates to relationships. At some point, you want to get past the exhilarating, total downhill, scare me, kind of thing. And relationships are not just about that thrill. A real, long-standing relationship that's going to work and be sustainable. You have to get past that. You have to get to the deeper aspects of a relationship that are beyond just the thrill of it all, of sort of new love. Because when you first fall in love, there's something there that's just so incredible that you can't think of anything else. You just put blinders on. But eventually, a relationship is going to sustain itself. It has to develop into something way more and way deeper than just that, the fast ride downhill kind of thing. And that's kind of, I sort of don't exactly remember where I came up with this one, but
this was one of the first songs I think you wrote for this.
Yeah, it was one of the first.
And I liked it the first time I heard it. So.
Fantastic.
Let's see if I remember the intro.
Roller coaster ride, you're taking my heart down the roller coaster ride. But if you spend too much time on the Big Dipper, you're gonna bring my heart into how I ride over you. The thrill of the fast ride downhill. You get a kick out of the twists and turns. The ride of your love is so exciting and dangerous. But love that lasts so much more than roller coaster ride. You're taking my heart on a roller coaster ride. But if you spend too much time on the Big Dipper, you're gonna bring my heart into how I will be harder for you. Seems to be your dream rush, but it has to be more than just a schoolboy crush. Love has to grow beyond the edge of uncertainty. First you say you love me, then you don't ever have love. Love has to grow beyond the edge of uncertainty. First you say you love me, then you don't ever have love. Roller coaster ride, you're taking my heart on a roller coaster ride. But if you spend too much time on the Big Dipper, you're gonna bring my heart into roller coaster ride. You're taking my heart on a roller coaster ride. And if you spend too much time on the Big Dipper, you're gonna bring my heart
have to say something after that. I'm just enjoying the music so much. I'm speechless now. So you had a great, it looks like you're having such a great time doing that too. So I can tell you really enjoy getting into it. What more can I say? This is what it's all about, you know, the love of music and each other. And I'm glad that you're sharing it with more people.
It's been interesting translating it from studio to live.
Yeah.
Which we've been doing for about the last year or so. And I'm very encouraged because it seems like we're both getting better at it.
I hope so. Learning.
Were you pleasantly surprised with the way the whole album came out? As far as you know, this is how you probably fleshed it out on a guitar or something like that, maybe, and then added new instrumentation into it. But when it has a full band sound to it, it's a whole different ball game, isn't it? It's a lot of fun, I think.
I don't think we knew what it was going to turn out to be. The first album we did was, I love that record as well. It's definitely a smaller, more quaint record. Maybe because we were starting there, and songs, and just our production chops.
We were learning.
Yeah, we were learning. And so this one, I think the production's better. It's a little bit bigger, and I think that we expand our themes a little more. And ran into this angel, Bernice and Ren, to inspire us to write some of these songs, and kind of it grew into something more than what we expected. Where we were in the beginning of the process versus the end was quite different. When we got to the end, we tossed, as I mentioned, two of the songs that were completely finished. They just weren't quite right with everything else.
That was hard to do. But
yeah. Usually you name a record after a song on a record, and there is a song called "StrongWriter," and that was one of the songs that ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, it's like you can only pick 10 friends to go on a trip, and you had to leave 2 people behind that you really wanted to include, huh?
Production-wise, and there was a song on there, "Summer of Love," which we really liked. But when we got to the end, we realized that the production wasn't quite right. So I sort of rejiggered it, retracted it. She sang it again, and it turned out that much better. But it was one of the first songs that we had recorded in the process, and we realized that, again, like where we were in the beginning of the record was not really who we were at the end.
Yeah.
So we had to bring that early song we really loved more in line with everything else. It's such an interesting process.
You didn't have anything that you carried over from like Gone South, like, stuff that you didn't do on there to this one?
No.
This is all brand new things that you created. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Although, now I'm thinking about poor StrongWriter. Maybe we can bring her along to the...
Well, if you have extra ones, it's kind of weird because, back in the old days when you had like a record deal or whatever, you'd save those for like B-sides and, things like that because, they wouldn't fit anywhere else. You couldn't, they're almost like in the moment when you create it,
So
yeah, that was always the fun, like the 45 B-side.
My friend and I, we were big, we saw ourselves like a Steely Dan wannabes. We wanted to, and we always would listen to those albums that they made, thinking that they were able to take stuff on a recording session and then carry it through to another album, and you would never know it because it sort of had another. They make it feel like it was a part of that album. But on the other hand, if you know anything about that group, they had like the best musicians come in and do their records with them. And the 2 of them would go like, we don't want to go out on tour because we can't emulate. We don't want to play their parts. We don't have the chops to play like they do. So it's a lot of fun, and then it's a lot of, wishing you could do better, right?
Always.
That is the challenge for us. Is we create these songs in the studio, and there are a lot of pieces to the song, and then it's like, okay, now play it live.
Now strip it all down.
Yeah, strip it down. Two voices, and I love that challenge because I love playing all the electrics and all that kind of stuff, but I love getting back to just an acoustic guitar as well. So
It's fun.
Hopefully, once COVID is past and we're getting back to normal again, I love the idea of getting a band together and playing this stuff full band. That would be awesome.
yeah, that would be great.
This is just a little side note. Have you ever, back in the, you might remember on MTV, they used to have this show Unplugged where they would have acoustic sets. I just got through talking with this guy last week, and he was the, I guess, there are a lot of people arguing who invented that show. Well, I guess this was the guy that really came up with the concept, and he hosted it. I was talking to him and said, I had no idea he was the guy who was sort of like the main reason Unplugged was the way it was. But he was a real purist. When people would start plugging in their instruments, to try to cheat a little bit, they go, that's not what we agreed to do. Don't plug in your bass. We want an acoustic. Everything has to be mic'd, no pickups, no anything like that. So, because to him it was important to hear a version of the song stripped down, and you could get a whole personality that you weren't expecting from the recording that you were used to. That's the way I see what you're doing here. When I heard all those 3 songs that you just did, a whole different vibe came out. In a good way. Yeah. So I have to clarify that. It was good. I liked it.
It's like the song has more than one life.
Yeah. That was a long question that wasn't even a question. I was just sort of giving you a comment, sharing a comment there.
I love the Unplugged show, generally speaking. I love hearing artists playing their songs that didn't sound like their record.
Yeah, it did have that.
Oh, yeah, when you love an artist, you want to hear all versions and all B-sides.
Yeah, I was like that with Sting. He didn't mind doing like 15 versions of his song instead. I always liked artists that would do that, and versus they got to play it the same way every single time. It's like, well, I could buy the record then because I already know what it's going to sound like. Even the solos sound similar, So
when we go and play live, we're going to really work to make that different than what you hear on the record. The record is one thing, and playing live for us is something else.
Yeah.
So
you want to make it as long as it feels right. You don't want to do it just because, right? Yeah.
But I can see us going out with just a bass player and drummer, and playing either one electric or one acoustic, and just to really, more ramped up than this, but not, full on, 17, people in the band playing every single thing on the record.
Yeah.
So.
That's funny when you say bass player or drummer. Sometimes you can look at old groups where they're playing on YouTube. It'll just be like a bass player and the drummer, and you swear they could just go out on tour just like that. If they're good, like if one guy's so good on the bass that it sounds like 2 or 3 instruments, you got something there. It all depends on the feel, I guess. On whether you can convey that feeling to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And the night she put on a show while we were in the kitchen cooking, and it was Johnny Cash
in Denmark, live in Denmark.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He had his wife and her family, June Cash and her family. He had Statler Brothers. Who else did he have on?
He had Carl Perkins playing his band.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Is this a video you watched, or was this audio that you listened to?
The video that we watched is on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. It was fabulous.
But just that lineup alone already sounds interesting to see.
Johnny's band was drummer, bass player, 2 guitar players. That was it.
Yeah.
And it was very lively.
Yeah, and they were
just
great players.
Now to do this podcast as a video, you can see Laura do things like she just did there, so it's just those little things that I can't get on the phone call, which is what I used to do. So this has been a real treat getting to hear you play your songs and Sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulty in the beginning, but it's worth it to get it just right sometimes.
Oh yeah, we're still working through all the these various variations of the theme for Zooming, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It was really nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too, guys. I was afraid I was going to ruin this thing because I couldn't hear you. You couldn't hear me to begin with, and then I was like struggling like an old man hard of hearing. I couldn't. I actually turned. People that didn't see that I had to turn off some noise in the room so I could hear them. I didn't want to miss a note, a word. So.
I think we might just. This is the mic for the recording or for the music part. Maybe we might set up a little lavalier or something so that when we talk, you can hear us better.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Yeah.
Try that next time.
Okay. I'm always taking advice. That's fine. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
No, you sound amazing.
Yeah, you sound amazing.
Okay.
Maybe we should have a little.
Just like maybe a little mic right here for talking.
A little show and tell, because I always like seeing around the room. I was going to ask about your guitar, but I'm fascinated by what mic you're using right now. What is this?
That's a mic we got years ago. It's a Pelletron.
Condenser?
It's a boutique manufacturer, high-end microphone.
Yeah.
When we first set up the studio, one of the important things you have to have, especially if you have a great singer, is that you got to spend the money and get a really good microphone and a really good preamp, because it's absolutely worth every penny, and they last forever. We've had this mic probably for 10 plus years.
Uh-huh.
It sounds great. It makes her sound.
Same with the one I'm using. I've had this probably about 12 years. Yeah. As long as it doesn't break on you, and you take care of it, you can last for who knows how long it can go on.
Yeah.
And it looks gold from my point of view. Is it a gold or a bronze or what is that?
Golden. It's the lighting. It's silver.
It's silver? Oh no. You'll see it. It looks gold on because of the lighting or whatever. But yeah, only the best for Laura. I mean, you got to have the right stuff, the right equipment in her.
Totally.
Yeah. But the guitar, it's hard to. I can't see the headstock. What are you playing?
It's what is this guitar called? It's a Canadian guitar. It's a Larrabee. That
Sounds good, eh?
The answer to the Martin. Only about half as expensive. So I wanted a really good acoustic guitar, and at that point I couldn't really afford to buy the Martin I wanted. Where I was at, which is a store that only sells acoustic guitars, they said, well, you can get this Larrabee made in Canada. It's just as good as the Martin, half the price.
Do you own any Martin, or is that it?
What's that?
Do you own a Martin?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Those are good, though, I heard. I never played on one. I heard it's a nice, good, fat, full sound of an instrument.
Yeah, it's a beautiful instrument. I mean, it's sort of the bell cow of acoustic guitars, the Martin brand. She has a Taylor. It's more of a small body that's meant for her, for acoustic. And but this is my main acoustic guitar.
Wow.
Thanks.
This has been fun listening to. I just had to ask about that. Those are the two things in the room I see, besides yourselves, and I appreciate that you took this time. You guys are called Three Pairs of Boots. Either just the two of you or the people playing with you. You're a great band on the record, and you two sounded great together here on this show, and you were very much appreciated. Hope you didn't mind a lot of times my things got off to a rocky start, but you can see that we sort of hit our stride a little bit, and we can talk and just get to know each other. But you've been great, so thank you.
A couple hours ago, I didn't even know it.
Oh yeah. He's
But
last.
it's very
Well, that's what the last guy was telling me. You know, you shouldn't tell everybody that you screwed up on something. But I just want to, you know, I don't like to put on airs. You know, I'll let some people see my mistakes and see what happens. You know, sometimes it other people can relate to it, and they know that you know, even if you're a perfectionist, don't be afraid to let them see you sweat.
Exactly. It's just more real.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And maybe you've said that to Andrew sometimes, you know, but have you ever had to like get him in line if he's being a little too over analytical on something?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. What do you think?
Can't think of anything in particular. I'm sure that you have.
Well, I just think of that one song, the chorus. I wanted to change the melody line, the one that you were talking about earlier. And you heard it one way, and I thought, no, I think this sounds great to me. So, and I had no standing in that. You know, I couldn't say, oh, well, because music theory says this. You know, this is perfect melody or whatever. But he had to trust me, and I know that he went behind my back and went to an engineer friend of ours and played in both versions and said, which part do you like better? And
I believe that. It's and nothing wrong with that either. It's just
Well, that was again. I was in. It wasn't that I thought the way she had portrayed it was not as good as the way I had written it. I was at that point where I just didn't know.
you're in the weeds.
Yeah,
you know?
just like
yeah.
Or after working on a song for so long.
But I come in cold, you know, and I haven't been, you know, working on this piece forever. So I come in, and to me it just sounded like this was the way to do it. And so
I think there's something that also for me that I've learned, as much as being a perfectionist works for me in the studio and really trying to get things right. There's a point where you don't want to overplay something. You just wring it dry. Many of the vocal performances for Laura are early takes. She's not doing 100, 200, 300 passes on these songs. There's a certain amount of emotion that she can bring when a song is fresh. That may be the case for a lot of singers. So I tend to, when producing the songs and Laura's singing, I tend to go for the emotional content, not necessarily, oh, you have to sing it perfectly. That's not what I'm looking for.
And for a singer, it's kind of odd because as a singer, I'm thinking, I know I can sing that better, you know. But he says, no, this is what I wanted. So.
There's that combination of perfect but raw and emotional, like just real. And I don't want to spoil that. So I sort of have the internal dialogue. Well, the perfectionist says this, but what you're really hearing is this, and this is better. So
Yeah, it's that like you said earlier, it's that magic. You're looking for her to create that magic while you agonize over the other details, I guess, you know, the technical aspect.
said it better myself.
Good. I'm glad I said something good on this show. I appreciate that. Maybe behind the scenes we don't see if there are dry spells, you know, if there's a part where maybe you're not inspired to create for a month or so and it's just not happening. I'm not talking about writer's blocks, just like, you know what, we're just not in the mood this time. Have you ever gone through a period like that? Because I think I've talked to some other people that do, and I just wondered maybe if you had any advice for people that go through a low point and maybe, you know, to get them back up on the upswing.
Do you want to address that?
I think that, you know, having been together for so long, definitely ups and downs, and times when we're not in sync as much as other times. Having a house with 3 floors is really a benefit for us. Our son's down on the bottom floor, I'm up, the studio's on the top floor, and Laura was just hanging out in the main floor, living room, whatever, with the cats. So
Yeah.
I think having separation and having other interests. Laura's got a whole separate office up here where she writes songs. She's got her sewing thing going. So it's important to be able to sort of separate and then come back to have a long relationship.
And I think it's also musically speaking, songwriting wise, I think it's sometimes, you're not feeling, nothing's coming to you, and I just feel like that's okay. Sometimes you're not inspired, but then other times it's flooding in, right? And you just want to get in a zone, and maybe you're in a zone for a month or a couple months at a time, or whatever it is, but it comes in, ebbs and flows, and it's, I don't be afraid of the downtime. The downtime is good for you, because even though you don't think you're working, you're being exposed to things, influences are creeping in, and you're building up your energy, for today.
Yeah. So like, on a personal level, don't take yourself so personally, right? And just like there's ups and downs, and it's a long game, right?
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. It's the long game that you're playing.
Yeah. I ask that a lot. Some people have some brilliant answers, which you just did. That's what I was looking for. Sometimes just the simple answer can like ring a bell in somebody's head. And you know what? I don't know what I'm being so depressed for. This whole thing can be resolved if I just tough it out.
Yeah.
We were talking about the song "Low." Is there? Have you noticed anybody going through some tough times? Some of your friends or peers that are they taking this a little too hard? This pandemic?
Yeah, I think. Well, I think that the elderly have it the roughest. They're the most susceptible, and society or whoever is telling them, stay home and don't allow visitors, and it's really been hard for them. And the other group I worry about are young people, because there's the teens, like my son and his peer group, they're just talking on the phone, or they're Zooming, and are allowed to see each other, and that's really hard. And then you have the little ones, who this is a new world for them. We didn't have to experience this lockdown or anything growing up, and sad they're running around, learning the ins and outs of being under these conditions, and maybe even being afraid. And so I think it's really sad.
And for us personally, the people we see that have been really affected are friends of ours who are small business owners. So we have a very good friend who's Laura's hairstylist, and she's been locked down for a good part
since March. She had a couple weeks there.
Right. So she was down, and she was locked down, and they opened up, and now she's back locked down again. So those people are, you feel sorry for them, and you're going to tip them 40%, and you're bringing them a couple bottles of wine, and do whatever you can. But at the same time, we have a few other friends who their businesses just seem to be thriving right now, despite, and that's just because of the particular type of business they're in. We have a good friend who's a tennis coach, and he's just booked solid, like he's never been. People are so tired of being cooped up, they just want to go out, they just want to run around. So he's doing well. Our mix engineers, who were not allowed to, one of them was not allowed to studios down in LA, been working remotely and still working a fair amount. And our other mix engineer who has his own studio thought all his work was going to disappear. Turns out he had just as good a year as before. So those are encouraging stories.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I think what we see, we haven't encountered people who got sick really very much.
Thank God.
It's a small
I mean, we know a couple people who live in another state who got it, but they sailed right through it fine. But then we have friends who are restaurant owners, and they're not able to run their business right now. So it's really difficult for them. And
It goes up and down depending on what they have to do. My daughter's down in San Diego, runs she runs a restaurant as a manager, and she gets so frustrated when it goes from dining takeout to then they can do the outdoor, and now they can't do it anymore, and people are not as pleasant anymore to the the people she works with are pleasant, but the customers coming in are not being so pleasant anymore. So she doesn't like that. But I like how you're saying that there's some encouraging stories too. My wife and I will talk about this stuff, even as we're discussing this, you can tell that when you get into talking about this subject at any length of time, you almost want to spit it out of your mouth. That's enough. Because the negativity really gets to you. But I think that, like on a show like this, I like to try to, encourage each other. I think that, especially like what you were saying, that, keep your head up. Things will get better. Because we have each other, at least.
yes,
Social distance as we are, we can still be there for each other,
absolutely. And discussion and talking about it and letting our feelings out.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
It's good to do that, but don't wallow in it, right? But I've never really bought into that it's the worst year ever. It certainly is a whole new world that we've stepped into now.
It's been super challenging.
Yeah, it's been super. I mean, I'm no stranger to that stuff. We've had challenges. It's not been good. So,
it's not the early 1940s. It's not World War II.
right.
A much more difficult time for people around most of the world. So this is certainly difficult, but it's not like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things. I mean, I just lost my father 3 months ago. So that was a hard thing, but yet I still look, even my mother, we still look to the future. We got to move. We're here for a reason, and it's not, and I don't think it's to always be, masked up and talking on Zoom and through glass and everything else. It's, I mean, that like, I don't mean to share stuff that you didn't ask for, but, yeah, just, that was a thing with my father. We couldn't properly put him to rest. It was because, you know what I'm saying? We couldn't have the proper service. Nobody was allowed. And it was a real tough thing. So you just didn't think this was what was in store for the life. After you lived this whole life, then this comes along and has ruined it for some. And I have I have friends who have gone through the same thing, lost their loved ones this way. So
Yeah, it's
yeah. And this isn't meant to be a sad moment in the show. It's just that I'm just saying we all have our things. Everybody's got a story, Maybe it's not tragedy, but you can also be sad. But at the same time, just don't. Just keep in the back of your mind that there's, sunshine comes out.
Yes,
I really admire people who are in their 80s, 90s, in that age range. What they went through in the 20th century, just these people were tough.
yes.
World War I, the Great Depression, World War II. I mean, those were really difficult times. And
Yeah.
the change in the world, you were born in the early 1900s, you might have been, rolling around on a horse and buggy. And now, there's electric cars. So the technology change for people who lived through the 20th century was tremendous. Maybe the biggest change of any century that they can go on through.
I enjoy talking to some of these folks that some of them are in their 80s now. And I said, did you ever think that we'd get to this point where we're actually conversing on, video to video, just like they did on in those novels or on the Jetsons or on Star Trek or any of those things that you thought was, who knew if this would really happen for real? and look what we're doing. So
Yeah.
it's almost like this came around that the pandemic sort of happened at the right time in technology anyway, that we had this.
Yeah. That's
I remember just early on, like in March and April, there was just like, for us, there was a surge of, let's have a cocktail party with all our friends, you know. So we ended up seeing people that we otherwise might not have seen that often, you know, good friends, but just like every couple of months you hook up. But all of a sudden, like we're just reaching out to all our friends. We might have seen some of the people that we hooked up with at that point via Zoom that we otherwise might not have.
That's true. Yeah.
So there was a little more, closeness that otherwise might not have been there, and maybe it was just a little more emphasis on staying connected at that point.
Yeah. And we mentioned this earlier about Zoom, how that you could still get something good out of it. My initial thought would be how stupid. We'd rather get together in person. Why would we do this? But like you said, if this is the way we get together, sometimes they could be in different states, and this is a great way to do it. So that we could still all be together, and like you said, maybe drink a toast at Thanksgiving if that's the way it has to be.
We'll make it work.
Making it work. Yeah. Well, you too, Andrew, Laura, I hope you didn't mind me sharing a little piece of my life. I mean, I asked you to open up about your stuff. I had to share a tiny bit for you. So,
Well,
thank you.
To get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So much good stuff. Plus the 3 tunes you did. It made it more special. So I'm really honored that you did this for me.
Thank
You're
you.
really
Likewise.
good.
So,
Very easy.
how can I properly promote you, for lack of a better word? So you have a website called 3 Pairs of Boots. That's 3 pairsofboots.com. Sounds pretty easy. And what are other ways to check it out? Because you're going to be having this album. Should they just go to your website and learn when the album's going to be coming out and all this?
I think that the place to follow us is on any of the 3 big social media platforms.
Okay.
Of course, we're everywhere. We're Instagram, we're Twitter, we're Facebook. Those are the places to get the information about us. The website, Instagram feeds over to the website. So
okay.
The website's good if you want to have us personally stay in contact with you. We have an email newsletter that's there. But other than that, social media is the place to go.
Yeah. 3 Pairs of Boots will get you any of those places, right? You probably have enough of a presence if you Google it. You have a very unique name in your band, so that'll probably register, and then you can go follow them on social media. I'll do that. I'll put you on Facebook for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the place to do it.
All right. That's what the old people do. Facebook. That's what my kids say. I say, why don't I see, like my daughter, why don't I see you on Facebook? Oh, I don't have time. I'm busy on Instagram or whatever that other stuff is. So
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm hearing more music in the back there. What did I do?
Forgot to turn the phone off.
Oh, that's the phone? There you go. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure meeting you. Laura ARIAS and Andrew Stern. They are a married couple. They call themselves 3 Pairs of Boots. Gosh, it's been a lot of fun talking to you guys. I appreciate the time you spent. It was a good feeling for today.
Great talking to you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Andrew, Laura, take care of yourselves. Have a great day today, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas
Thank you.
to you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.